What if the biggest thing you've been told about fertility is wrong? We've blamed age for decades, but that's maybe not the real story. Today, Dr. Shippy reveals what's actually driving the fertility crisis, and it starts long before you see 2 lines on a test. Welcome to the Biology of Trauma podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Aimie. Today, I have with me a good friend, Dr. Shippy. She's a board-certified internal medicine physician. She's also a former chemical engineer. She has been a leader of functional medicine, and her new book is called The Preconception Revolution. I am so excited for this. I'm so excited for the information and how it's going to open people's eyes to all the ways in which they can support their body. And so I'm really excited to dive into this topic. You know that I talk a lot about stored trauma in the body, and there's a lot of talk on generational trauma and how that gets passed down. And I see so many parallels between what I'm teaching about generational trauma, how it affects our biology and is passed down through our biology, and what you're saying in your book. So welcome, first of all. And what made you want to write this book?
Oh, it's so good to be here with you. Anytime I get to spend with you is amazing. This has been about a 20-year process, actually. So I had left engineering to do medicine differently. And one of my early patients, when I opened up my functional medicine practice, not knowing who was going to come to me or if I could even make a living at it, right? Because it was so new. One of my early patients was really smart. She planted the seed with me that we should be preparing for pregnancy. She was 41 and she'd gotten married late and was just ready to start her family, but she had the intuition that her body wasn't balanced enough to get pregnant. So before she even, and have a healthy baby. So even before they started trying, she came in and she was right. We found that she was high in some heavy metals. Her microbiome was way out of balance. Her hormones were off. Quite a lot of things when we started doing our root cause analysis and diving deep. So after 6-9 months, we gave her the green light to start trying, and she had a healthy baby boy so easily.
Isn't that amazing that when we give the body what it needs, it's able to do its natural processes like creating life so much easier?
Yes, it's been quite fascinating. And then another patient a few years later had found me. Her mom was a patient, and her mom wanted her to come because she had tried IVF several times and now nobody would even touch her. She tried both coasts of the top reproductive docs, and everybody was like, yeah, you need to adopt. So we just got going and found out that she had some undiagnosed autoimmune disorders, also had some toxic exposures she didn't realize. And we got and gave her the green light, and she got pregnant right away. And while she was nursing the first one, she just wasn't expecting that she was going to be fertile because she had worked so hard before that. She got pregnant with twins. And then she didn't learn her lesson. So then she got pregnant again when she was nursing the twins. She ended up with 4 babies under 4 after being told no babies.
After being told no babies. And I remember working with the families that would come to me and they had adopted because they had been told no babies. And they had been told that they were going to always be infertile as a couple. And the heartache that they experienced, and then this decision, okay, then let us adopt, and then all of the challenges that came with that adoption experience. But I remember they would still tear up and choke up when they remembered that experience of being told, you are infertile and we don't know why.
And I think we're creating a lot of trauma in men and women today by having these discussions the way that they're being held. I can't tell you the number of men and women in their early 30s that there's so much fear being put into them with the narrative that it's what the infertility rate is, 1 in 5 to 6 couples, this childhood health crisis. And so even if you do have a baby, when we paint it in such a hopeless way, and really gearing people into such an expensive, such an invasive process to save their eggs or try to plan for having such a huge expense and putting their bodies through so much. It's creating trauma.
It really is. And one of the major traumas that I see it surfacing is this age-old belief of, am I enough? And for many, their identity has been wrapped up in being a parent, becoming a parent. And so how awful then to receive that message of, you're not able to. And there's something wrong with your body that you're not able to.
So I had my own experiences with getting sick and feeling like I might become dead or disabled, but then also some run-ins with infertility. The first time I had done some Clobid and some IUIs, and I think and then I decided to go to medical school in my 30s. So I was unwittingly taking this dream of becoming a mom and rolling the dice. But I think there was a part of me from that experience that really made me doubt whether I was ever going to be having children. So I might as well go to medical school. And then somehow was blessed to get pregnant during medical school. But then in residency, I wasn't getting pregnant with the second one. I really wanted my son to have a sibling. And so I did all my labs, took him to a fertility specialist, and he looked at the labs and he was just like, there's no way you're going to get pregnant. I was 38. He was like, you just need to do IVF now. He was wrong. Because while I was waiting for my period to start to go on the pill, because they have to settle your eggs down to do IVF and then stimulate them all together, I got pregnant. So it just goes to show there's so much more to this whole understanding of fertility than just a set of labs. And so I think for the people listening, just really tuning into your own body and knowing what's right for you, and then really listening to what your body be the most resilient is where the answer lies.
Yep. When I got really sick though, Anne, I was sure that would never happen. And it started with being diagnosed with chronic fatigue of unknown etiology. And right there, like just this idea of, if it's unknown, I don't even know what's wrong with my body to even know what I could do differently.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you work with a lot of people who've had these types of diagnoses, had these types of messages from their previous medical providers, and they're coming now to you. Where would you start? If I came to you and I was like, all right, Anne, I really want to, I know I'm older, I know that I've had all these health issues, the autoimmunity, all of this stuff, what would you tell me? And where would you have me start if this was a dream that I wanted to make come true?
Yes. First, I would just start with hope. Like, my oldest patient is 47, and she had heard about me and decided to come. She'd had a couple of children earlier, and then she met the love of her life and they wanted to have a child together. So she came to see, is it even possible? Is it safe? And so we worked with her for about 3 months, and we found some things. We found that she did have some toxins she didn't expect she had, even though she had a healthy lifestyle. We found some nutritional deficiencies, and then we found some low-grade infections. So she had some candida overgrowth and a couple of other things. So we worked for 3 months, and then she was supposed to come back in and double check and make sure everything was good. But she got a little delayed. She'd started a new job and moved. So they had one night where they'd be like, oh, we're just going to have fun. She got pregnant, first chance. And now she's 6 months pregnant. So I really like and she's doing amazing. Like, we don't have a healthy baby yet, but everything looks super good. So I want to start with hope.
Hope. And even hope is going to shift the biology and the physiology and promote a biology, an environment that is welcoming to new life. When we don't have hope, our body is going to say, it's not time to create a life.
And our bodies are listening to our thoughts. So if we're thinking, oh, it's not even worth trying, I'm not going to get pregnant, or it's not happening for me, it's hearing you say that.
Yeah, you say that. Or what about the self-talk around, oh, I'm too stressed, I'm too busy, a baby would be a burden. Is our body listening to that as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think the first step too is being aware of why do we even want a child in the first place and what's that going to mean to me and am I really ready? And to have that conversation with your partner.
And now you're getting way too deep into the trauma stuff. You're talking about the meaning of things. The meaning, what would it mean to me? What does it mean? That's all tapping into our trauma. How interesting. How interesting. So you would then run a bunch of labs for giving me hope with stories of other patients.
So one of the things that I think is most important for both fertility and the health of the future child is environmental toxins.
We're taught that, oh, golfing is one of the best sports. It helps your mindset, it helps you clear your mind, go golfing as much as possible. And yet it's true, Anne, that even those who live close to a golf course, their labs are often showing very high numbers of these environmental toxins that you're referring to.
Which has huge risk that people don't realize, not just for their fertility, but actually to the health of their future child, including the fertility of the future child, because the egg and the sperm are like little time capsules that are keeping track of all of these things. It increases the risk for diabetes and autoimmunity, so many things that we're having such an epidemic in.
Yeah, so we're talking about testing now for environmental toxins, and there's a long list of environmental toxins that refer to what we eat, what we breathe, what we're touching. So we want to look at those, but let's dig deep into this idea that an egg and a sperm are time capsules.
Yes.
Tell us more.
Especially for men's health, it's really easy to look at the health of the sperm and then look and see what happens with the baby. So the time capsule for the men keeps track of their stress, the trauma, two different things, right? The environmental toxins, their nutrient status, how inflamed they are, how fit they are, what their blood sugar is. Pretty much it's like a snapshot of the environment that the man is in, the woman too, but there are some additional details for women. And it makes so much sense from the survival of the species standpoint, right? If we have starvation, then the baby needs to be able to be very good at using the nutrients. And so if a man is underweight or if there's starvation, it increases the risk that the future child is going to have problems with too much weight because of those epigenetic survival influences.
And this is how generational trauma can be passed down. There's other ways as well, but this is one of them. Like it's literally in the egg and the sperm that's collecting all of this information and using it to help decide who does this baby need to be? What do they need to be able to do to best survive the world that we have lived in?
Interesting.
It is interesting.
So I start the book with that intentionality, like what is the environment that you want to bring the children in? And it's really everything I wish I had known before I had my kids. They're amazing. They're doing great, but I can see how some of the health challenges that they've bumped into, I could have done differently if I had known these things.
Yeah. And let me tie in this parallel that I see between what you've discovered with the time capsules and the nervous system for us, because as you're describing, it's taking all of this information to be able to make this decision. That's the same thing that our nervous system does. And it's called neuroception. And I talk about it. For those who've read my book, chapter 3 is where you'll learn about this neuroception and the dashboard of information that it's collecting. And it's doing that for the single purpose of making a decision about what should you be doing right now. Should you be running away? Should you be shutting down? Should you be connecting? It's all based on this information that's coming into the dashboard. And it's all of this information. And it's this accumulation of your past and the lens that you have that determines the perception of the amount of threat that you're in at the moment. But that's exactly what's happening as you're describing about the egg and the sperm. It's this memory, it's this form of memory that's being used to help a baby. But at the same time, we can then see the outcome and we can say, how is that actually helpful? Not understanding that, no, like this is helpful when you look at it through the lens of, I'm trying to help my child survive a harsh world. And that harsh world also refers to environmental toxins, not just the emotional harsh world, but the environmental toxins and the amount of physiological stress that they can expect to encounter based on what I'm experiencing while I'm leading up to my pregnancy with them. Fascinating.
Exactly. It's so fascinating. And then this whole dashboard on the nutrient side of things, like
Right.
the better nourished, like not just the protein, fat, and carbohydrates, but the detailed nutrients that really run our mitochondria, support our microbiome, all of those things are also encoding this time capsule. So it's really, from a hope standpoint, by being intentional in this 3, 6, 12, 36 months before and between babies, oh my gosh, it's such a gift that you can give your future child. And that's why I was so excited to have this conversation with you today, because this trauma piece, I think, is so big for men and women. And even if we broaden what we think about trauma, it's belief systems.
Yeah. And I just made another connection and insight into what you're saying and how it relates to fertility that also relates to the trauma work. What I've seen is that being stuck in our chronic trauma responses is an energy problem. If our body had more energy, it would be able to resolve and heal rather than hold on. And what you just said around the mitochondria and the nutrients also tells me that infertility is also partly an energy problem.
Absolutely.
Creating and carrying life requires energy. And if your body says, I don't think that we have enough energy and we need all the energy we can just to get through our day, our life is hard, we're barely surviving. There's no way that our body will then say, oh, and let's also now create a life that's going to take more energy from us. It's going to protect us by not allowing that fertility process to happen.
That's so well said. Yeah, that's exactly what I think is happening a lot of times with the infertility piece, is the body saying, wait, we don't have the energy.
Absolutely. And they will take even when we don't have it to give because they need it for their development. And that is where if a mom goes into a pregnancy already depleted, that has often been when I've seen her body cross that line and not be able to recover from the second or third pregnancy. It just took more from her body than what she had to give, and it put her into a chronic state of depletion, which is one of the trauma patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this really shows the relationship between aging, longevity, and your fertility.
Right. Everything that I wrote in this book on fertility and conception applies to longevity.
And neither one of us are surprised. Like, these are the principles of the body. And when we can align ourselves with those principles, everything works better. Everything is going to be better. So sounds like then what you're saying is that someone like me can have had many health issues before and yet get to a place where their health is so good that they actually have better health and are in a better state for getting pregnant than they used to be when they were younger.
Yes. And well into their mid-40s. I'd like most people to get their families done by mid-40s. It's not impossible to do it after later 40s, but it's like we are built when we do have the nutrients in our body, when our stress levels are optimized. We're not toxic. Our mitochondria are charged. Our microbiome is balanced. We are built to perpetuate the species.
Yeah. And aligning with our body's rhythms is always going to promote our best health and then our baby's best health. Yeah. Where can people find you and where can they find this amazing book that you wrote?
The Preconception Revolution is available on Amazon and every place that books are sold. And people can get more information on my website at anshippymd.com and lots of good information on Instagram.
So if someone's listening to this and they are in their mid-40s and they're like, oh, she's just given me hope.
Yes.
What would be the first step that you would encourage them to do?
Get in touch with their why.
Yeah.
Like really get the mind, body, spirit aligned. I firmly believe these precious souls that come in to join our families, that's the first thing. They find the path in to the little spark of life when the sperm and the egg meet, when we're best aligned.
And we are definitely the best parents when we are aligned with ourselves and have done our inner work to show up in the way that we want to show up.
And we get tested all along the way to remember that alignment.
Yeah, I think that is part of what life is supposed to do for us, is supposed to show us the next layer for healing so that more and more we can become more authentic, more whole, and more aligned throughout our whole entire life, so that even in our 50s and 60s and 70s, we're actually better people, healthier people than what we were decades earlier.
I feel I'm into my 6th decade and I feel as good as I did maybe in my 20s, just getting my body figured out, what it needs, what it doesn't need, and being committed to doing the things that it needs. It's wow.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on to the podcast. Appreciate the work that you're doing. Appreciate the dedication that you put into this book, because I think this is the book that many couples are going to be able to use as their source of hope and also as a path and roadmap for how they can build their families in the way that they've wanted to.
Thank you so much. And you know what's been interesting is a lot of times it's the potential future grandparents that are wanting to help their children. They're seeing what's happening with the fertility crisis and the children's health epidemic, and they want to help their children to have the healthiest babies possible. It's a great gift for grandparents to be too, to know about this information.
100%. I've seen those grandparents. They're the ones who buy the book and then leave it conveniently by the purse of their daughter or son. Oops, did I leave the book there? My bad. But no, I think grandparents are so much the source of information, because parents or people who will become parents are so busy these days that how can they get this information that could allow them to actually have the life and create the family that they want to create?
Exactly. You said that so well.
Thank you. Thank you again for coming on. And I encourage everyone, go get this book. Even if you're not using it for yourself, you have people in your life that you know who are wanting to get pregnant, and there's so much that they can do in order to have not only the best pregnancy, but the best, healthiest child without all of the toxins and the burdens that can come with that these days in our world, in our modern world, and create disease before our baby's even created.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a delight to hang out with you.
As we close, I want to highlight a parallel that struck me during the conversation. You even heard it. Dr. Shippy described eggs and sperm as time capsules that collect information about our stress, our toxins, our trauma to help decide who this baby needs to be to best survive. And that is what our bodies do for us. That's what our neuroception does for us. Constantly collecting information on this dashboard to make decisions about how safe am I? Do I have enough capacity? What should I do right now? What inner state would best help me survive right now? Both systems are just trying to protect us, and both are making the same calculation. Is there enough energy and safety to move forward? Moving forward, whether that's healing from stored trauma or creating new life. Is there enough energy and safety? If this episode resonated, you will want to check out episode 5. This was with Dr. William Walsh on genetics and epigenetics. Episode 85 was with Dr. Bruce Lipton on is trauma genetic or epigenetic. I am here to save you time and money by bringing you practical information that will help you accelerate the healing journey. Would you please leave a review right now of the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you are, because your feedback allows me to bring great content to you and helps others find the information that could change their life as well. I'm your host, Dr. Aimie. Until next episode, lots of love.